Hello everybody, my name's Cam from Etani, and today we're going to look at debtor days, but in particular customer debtor days, which has been a really hot topic. If you look through the Xero forums, they're always asking, can we get customer debtor days? So I'm going to discuss how we're going to be able to do that, but it's not going to be using your traditional debtor days ratio. It's going to be using Power BI and business intelligence, like transactional data. I'll show you how it works. So quick recap on debtor days. If we just have a look at here, what is debtor days? Debtor days is the traditional calculation. We're looking at July here. So July at the end of the period had 71,000 in trade debtors, accounts receivable. The total income for the July period was 160 grand. So debtors divided by income times by your 31 days in July gives you your debtor days. Okay, so if you go to your reports and your executive summary in Xero, you will get that number, and they will do a change between each month. So as they go from the current month to the previous month, they'll just give you a little percentage. You can't do it quarterly, or you can't actually do it over a yearly period. So over here, the 30.07, I mean, that's your annual figure. So customers, let's talk customers. You want to slice your debtor days by customers. So I just want to run you through why this is actually not achievable with this traditional approach. So come down here and have a look at this table which I put together. So that's just your July, that's your month. So instead, I'm just going to put in our customers, okay? So I'll slide in your customer name and delete out the short month name. So unfortunately with this demo company, we haven't got a lot of customers, but it won't matter. We're illustrating the point. So what we've done here, you have a look now, John Victoria. Okay, so for example, John Victoria. How much currently in this period, we're looking at financial year 18. So John Victoria owes us $98,000, but the total income for the period from John is the whole 18 financial year is $665,000 because he's paid a heap of his bills. So customer debtor days with this traditional formula of the debtors amount divided by income times by your days of 361, it doesn't work. That's not a reflection of what John is. Because a heap of the bills that John's paid are already paid. So it's a skewed, it just doesn't work with the traditional approach. But now comes the interesting bit. This is where what we're doing in Power BI, we have transactional data. Like we've got every single transaction that ever happened. So I'm going to take you into the invoices table and I'll show you what I mean. So right now you're looking at the invoices table. Every single invoice that has ever been put through this company in Xero with this example. And so look what we've got. Contact ID, okay? I just want to point out the interesting data that we've got. Contact ID, so we know who that invoice belongs to, and we know everything about that person. We've also got the date of the invoice, and we've also got a column fully paid on date. So for example, this invoice was raised on the 15th and paid on the 22nd. So the difference between that is 7 days. Is that not what debtor days is? So let's go back into the report and I'll show you what I mean. So I've just opened up one of the debtor day, collection day templates. So in doing this, with that difference, there's been a bit of a backlash from some of the accounting firms I've been speaking to. They said, look, you can't call what I just showed you the debtor day difference. You can't actually call that debtor days. It's taking away the traditional understanding of what debtor days means. So it's actually changing the goalpost too much. It's a misunderstanding. So we've gone with a new name. We just said, okay, well, let's call it collection days, because in my view, this is actually a far more superior and true reflection of what debtor days is, and creditor days, by the way. You can flip this with creditors and debtors. So what we have designed collection days is whatever period you're looking at, say you're looking at the 31st of May, we'll look back an entire year and look at all the invoices in that period, get rid of anything that's not paid, and then average that day difference. And then we can do things like this. Poor paying customers. So Jennifer Northern is the worst paying customer for this period that we're looking at, or best paying customers as well. Or on creditor days, which ones are we paying too fast? Which ones are we paying too slow? So there's immense power going on here. I still would like to leave it by saying, I still think that there's a place for debtor days as well. I'll show you why. For example, if we are looking at, for example here, this is quarterly, and so Xero in their executive summary, they look at monthly and the change. So that's an interesting way of looking at a monthly change of your debtor days. So you can see if overall your trending down or up with your debtor days, which is, I think, is really important. You can't really do that with collection days, because if you look at collection days over 1 month, I don't think it's a big enough data source of those payments that have been paid in that month to be reflective of it. So I think they both have their place. But this is actually really interesting because we call this measure branching. So you can just branch on this. I mentioned cash flow forecasting. You can incorporate this into your cash flow forecasting. You can also incorporate this into looking at correlations between, okay, poor paying customers and are they material? Like, are the invoices actually material? I mean, if you've got a $1,000 invoice from somebody and they take 100 days to pay it, maybe it's not material. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not something that you would actually put resources into ensuring that you get that paid. But if you've got large customers, there's a material change in trying to action and incentivize them to pay faster. Maybe that's with discounts by paying early or things like that. So there's the branching that can come out of this is huge.